Howdy y'all, got something a little bit different today. I'm going to talk about the top 10 reasons why I love Caterpillar. And before we get started, let me just say, I have a lot of other favorites out there, but Caterpillar is definitely at the top of my list. So let's get started. Number 10, operating experience. I've ran a lot of tractors over a lot of years. For generations, my family's ran a lot of tractors. But nothing had the feel, the operator feel, the controls. Nothing was cutting edge for visibility, for durability, for comfort, quite like the Caterpillar. And pilot controls really changed the game when they started putting them in even skid steers in smaller units. So number 10, definitely operating experience. Number 9, treated like a big fish. You might be asking, what is that about? Well, I'll tell you, we weren't a very big excavating company. We did very small jobs. We dug a lot of basements, pipeline, you name it. A lot of utility stuff. And it was really just a small family business. But we never felt little when we dealt with CAT. We felt like we were just as valued as any of their other customers and anybody else, whether it was parts, service. They always spent the time to talk to us. I know it was probably irritating some of the times we were in there trying to figure things out in the shop, asking techs questions. Nobody ever got impatient with us. Nobody ever got mad at us. And everybody was always super helpful. I really can't think of a bad story in that regard. An American company. And I remember a time when we were able to actually go out and tour the Caterpillar plant, the tractor facility, the foundry, and it was an amazing time. And again, it kind of falls in line with the last one. This was also something that, once again, we were treated like big fish when we really weren't. And it was a fantastic experience. One of the valued, most cherished memories of my son and I, and my wife, and something that I will never forget for the rest of my life, especially at the end of it when we watched a brand new D11 drive right off the line. So an amazing thing, and just another part of the reasons that I love CAT. Number 7, longevity and resale value. Now when I'm talking about longevity, I'm talking about decades and decades and decades. And that's something that was near and dear to an owner-operator. We kept things probably way past their useful life, but Caterpillar put food on our table for generations. And I'm not kidding when I say that. And another note to this is after the family business was done, I went to work for the United States Antarctic program. And what I found upon my arrival down there was we were still using dozers and loaders and pieces of equipment that were left there by the Navy. There's some machines down there that have been there since the 60s, 70s, are still working to this day. So that is definitely a testament to their durability, their longevity, and you can't beat the resale value. We've sold a lot of other pieces of equipment, some Case IH stuff, Caterpillar stuff, and nothing has really brought our return on investment quite like a Caterpillar. And usually by then, they were probably already paid for from the work that they performed for us, but nothing quite beats the value of a Caterpillar machine. And again, I saw these things used in Antarctica, probably one of the harshest environments on Earth. And they were using different diesel. They used jet fuel, AN8, an Antarctic blend of JP8 jet fuel. And these machines just go and go and go and go. And as long as they're well maintained, which they were, they've so far lasted forever. And you can't beat them. And as a owner-operator, as a family business, it was the same thing in our case. Everything was very durable. We didn't seem to have the annoying nuances and problems with most of our CAT equipment that we maybe had with other things. That's not to say there weren't any. There were. But they were very durable machines. And they also got put to very heavy, hard use, very hot summers. We dug basements with wheel loaders. Not really what they were designed for. So it's a very hard application. And they stood the test of time. They really performed well. And like I said, put food on our table for generations. Number 5, the history and quality. So not only does Caterpillar have a long history as a U.S. company, they have a long history with my family. We actually started farming. We broke out a lot of ground here in Colorado with a pair of Cat 22s. We didn't have them for long, but we had them long enough to, again, put food on the table. And that's part of the history that I love. I love the old Cat tractors. I love the old Cat track machines. And I just love the quality. And there was a time, I don't know if it's true anymore, every bolt on the machine was a grade 8. And you can tell they were overbuilt. And by comparison to competitors, in a lot of cases, they were very overbuilt. That's not to say that some of the competitors didn't have better ideas, better starting systems. I wasn't a huge fan of the pony motors. I thought the International, the TD series were a lot better of a starting system. But again, longevity. So you can't beat the history. You can't beat the best tractors, the whole lineage of Caterpillar, how they came to be, how they grew. And obviously they wouldn't have grown if they didn't last long and if they didn't perform. So you can't beat their history. Number 4, quality parts. And this is something that we actually experienced firsthand. We did a little bit of experimenting with our excavators, with our loaders, with our backhoes, by buying different teeth. And for digging basements, maybe we put half of a Cat set on one side, half of a Hensley set on the other. The Cats always got their value out of their money. In fact, they would still outperform the Hensleys. Yes, they were more. They cost more. We definitely got our money's worth and some. They would outlast the secondhand parts substantially. And I think that still holds true to this day. And that's why, well, we loved them. We just never had any issues with buying quality Cat parts. Number 3, sales support. Now this is something that kind of keys into some of the earlier points that I've made, but it's also something that was very important to us. We were always a phone call away from a salesman. They always represented us well. They took care of us. They called on us. I can't say enough about their sales. I can't say enough about the salesmen that we had. And we had quite a few of them over the years. And again, they always treated us like we were big fish, and we definitely weren't. But you can bet that there was a hat and a calendar laying on the desk when we came home from work towards the end of the year. Number 2, research and development. Cat seems to have always been at the apex of research and development, and they are still, to this day, constantly new ideas, forging ahead. And my dad was fortunate to be part of that. And he was sent back to Peoria to run a prototype of the 420 backhoes that was coming out. They wanted the input of an owner-operator and what value that we would place cost per use on certain implements, certain features. And that was a valued experience as my father, but it also proved another thing, that Cat was willing to listen to its customers. And it understood that even a small fish had big ideas and maybe could help them in the future. So R&D, you can definitely tell they put money into it. And sure, that's what you're paying for when you buy a Cat, but that's also why you get the quality. Number 1, and again, these are just my personal list, my experience with Caterpillar, but number 1, organization and attention to detail. All you got to do is thumb through a Cat parts book or a service book, and even one for these old 1930s, 20s Caterpillars. There's detail. It's in there. There's a number for every part. The parts are numbered. It saves an owner-operator a lot of time when they don't have to search for these things. And that was something that Cat was keen on from the very beginning. And that organization helps order parts. It speeds along the process. It speeds along everything. So that attention to detail is massive for customer service. And I'm not going to complete this list yet. I have a bonus. And this one is near and dear to me. Probably actually my number 1. And that is Cat's community support. And a lot of you that watch this channel, you already know about my son's issues and the time that he spent in the children's hospital years and years and years. And a lot of that was during the recession. We had purchased new equipment. Cat took care of us. They worked with us on payments, and we powered through, but none of it hurt. You know why? because when I was walking the halls of the Children's Hospital, I saw one of the top donors is our local cat dealer. And I will never forget that as long as I live. And that's probably part of the reason I'm making this list. So, community support, a quality company, an American company. Sure, they're global. Sure, they compete globally. I bet you they have a piece of equipment on every continent. I know they do on Antarctica. And I know what you're thinking. It's years ago since you ran cat equipment, but that's not true. I was actually the department supervisor for the heavy equipment department at McMurdo Station only a year and a half ago. And I had plenty of experience with brand new equipment. 972 loaders, 323 excavators, 336s, and I gotta tell you, I'm still impressed. And one of my fondest memories, driving a D4D at the South Pole on Christmas Day. And yeah, that's an old machine. It was left there by the Navy in the 60s. Still running, still starts at the South Pole. Glow plugs. What can I say? So there you have it. There's my quick list of why I love Caterpillar. And, you know, that's my personal opinion. It's not necessarily the same for anybody else. And no, I'm not being paid by Cat. Nothing of that of the sort. It's just my personal experience. We survived using Cat products. I have fond memories of Cat products from my youth, from riding on the old Knuckle Buster number 12 grader with my grandpa, to the first time I loaded trucks with our old 950 when I was probably only 10 or 11 years old. Kind of a terrifying experience at first, but I learned very quick, and I had awesome teachers. So there you have it. That's my top 10 reasons why I love Caterpillar.